When my daughter, Victoria, spat, "Find somewhere else to die. You're worthless," I packed my bags, ever the dutiful mother, my heart shattered but my hands steady. 3 days later, in a lawyer's office, I uncovered my late husband's hidden strategy, a decades-long chess game of secrets that turned betrayal into triumph. Victoria's cruel words, meant to cast me out as a grieving widow, were about to meet a harsh truth. Pawns can rise to queens. The lawyer's revelations flipped the board, unveiling my husband's moves cloaked in love that had secured my power. I held the winning pieces, ready to rewrite my story with a resolve sharper than a coiled spring. The office, with its leather chairs and quiet authority, wasn't just a meeting space. It was my war room, where the chessboard of my husband's foresight became my reclaimed destiny. Victoria thought she could erase me, her venom dismissing a lifetime of my sacrifices, but his strategy, hidden in documents and trusts, handed me control, not defeat. This wasn't just my comeback, it's a saga for anyone cast aside, their worth denied by those meant to cherish them. Like overlooked heirs seizing power from scheming kin, I turned rejection into strength, my husband's love a shield against her cruelty. This story, twist in with betrayal and triumph, is a universal cry to rise above dismissal. I'm no longer the mother Victoria discarded. I'm a queen standing tall with the pieces she never saw coming. If this grips you, share where you're watching from, your kitchen, your car, your quiet corner, and let your voice join this triumph. Together, we prove that resilience outshines betrayal, and a widow's heart, armed with truth, can rewrite any ending. 2 months ago, I was Margaret Sullivan, a loyal wife of 43 years, shattered by Robert's sudden heart attack at 71, leaving me alone in our Pennsylvania home. My daughter Victoria descended, her crocodile tears masking a calculated greed as she eyed our house with barely concealed ambition. "Mom, this house is too much for you," she cooed, her concern a flimsy veil over her opportunism, her perfectly rehearsed sympathy failing to hide the glint in her eyes. I should have caught it then, the spark of a plan long in the making, but grief clouded my vision. Victoria, always Robert's cherished princess, thrived in her role as the favored child, now married to Kevin, an investment banker with a polished family and sharper ambitions. I'd been the backdrop, cooking, cleaning, holding our world together, while she basked in the spotlight. After the funeral, her visits grew relentless, armed with glossy retirement home brochures, urging me to simplify my life for their convenience, each pamphlet a step toward erasing me from my own home. Last Tuesday, the truth struck like a storm. Victoria and Kevin arrived with suitcases, their audacity unveiled as they declared, "We're moving in, this house is ours now." Stunned, I protested, "This is my home." Victoria's facade cracked, her voice cold. Dad's will left everything to me. This wasn't just a betrayal, it was a coup, a chilling revelation of her long-planned scheme to claim what I'd built with Robert. The house, our haven of 43 years, stood as my contested castle, Victoria's suitcases her gambit to oust me. This isn't just my story, it's a universal tale of loyalty betrayed, a cry for anyone whose devotion is exploited by entitled heirs. Like stewards cast aside by scheming kin, I faced a reckoning, my shock the spark of a fight brewing within. The sting of Victoria's words, her assumption that grief would bend me, only fueled my resolve. If this story twists in your heart, Share where you're watching from, your kitchen, your porch, your quiet corner, and join my rise as I prepare to reclaim my place in a tale that's far from over. Victoria's voice sliced through me, cold and deliberate. The house, investments, everything's mine. Dad knew you couldn't handle his legacy. Her final blow, find somewhere else to die. You're useless, landed like a dagger, reducing 43 years of marriage, building a home, raising her, caring for Robert to ashes. I packed 2 suitcases and a box of photos. My life's work condensed in a single shattering day. Victoria stood in the doorway, glancing at her watch, her impatience a cruel contrast to my grief, urging my exit from the Pennsylvania home we'd shared. Try the senior complex on Maple. Affordable, she suggested, as if evicting me from our $3 million estate was a casual favor, a tidy solution to her ambition. Kevin, her investment banker husband, loaded my bags into their BMW, avoiding my gaze, muttering about my independence from home upkeepy, hollow word for exile, my contributions erased. Driving to a cheap motel, I watched our home in the rearview mirror, where Id rocked Victoria to sleep, tended Robert through illness, poured my heart into every corner fade like a dream stolen by greed. This wasn't just a betrayal, it was a coup, stripping my legacy bare as Victoria and Kevin claimed what I'd built. The motel drive was a forced retreat, my suitcases not symbols of defeat, but sparks for a reckoning to come. This isn't just my story, it's a universal fight for anyone whose devotion is discarded by ingratitude. Like caretakers ousted by entitled heirs, my exile fueled a brewing resilience, a pawn poised to checkmate. The ache of losing my home didn't break me, it ignited a resolve to reclaim my power, proving that a mother's love, though betrayed, can still rise to rewrite the ending. The Sunset Inn reeked of neglect-worn carpet, flimsy towels, a $49 a night testament to my fall from the Pennsylvania home I'd built over 43 years. Victoria pressed $200 into my hand, murmuring about covering a few days, until Kevin sorted some money from the very estate I'd poured my life into. Her words a hollow gesture as they drove off. I sank onto the creaking mattress, a widow turned outcast in mere hours. My Dortina, the child I'd rocked, taught, loved, casting me aside like a forgotten relic. Her chilling words, find somewhere else to die, you're useless, echoed, stripping away decades of devotion. In that grim motel room, amidst the hum of a failing air conditioner, a spark of doubt flickered, sharp and insistent. Robert, ever precise with documents, had walked me through his will years ago, detailing protections to ensure my security. The man who mourned my mother beside me, who gifted me flowers every anniversary, wouldn't have left me bare, vulnerable to Victoria's greed. That nagging doubt wasn't weakness. It was a pawn's first move toward queenship, a refusal to accept the rigged game she'd thrust upon me. This motel wasn't just a refuge, it was my battlefield, my doubt a weapon against her deceit. This isn't just my story, it's a universal fight for anyone whose love is betrayed by familial greed, their legacy dismissed by those meant to cherish it. Like displaced elders uncovering hidden truths, my instincts stirred, ready to rewrite a fate Victoria thought she'd sealed. The ache of her betrayal didn't break me, it honed my resolve, setting the stage for a comeback rooted in the protections Robert left behind. If this story grips you, share your thoughts on my stand. Where are you reading from, and what do you make of this fight? Together, we affirm that a widow's heart, though wounded, can rise to reclaim her power. The next morning, I hunched over the motel's shaky Wi Fi, its signal flickering like my hope, to track down Harrison Fitzgerald, Robert's trusted lawyer for decades. His downtown office was a 20-minute bus ride, each coin from my dwindling cash a small price for the urgency driving me forward. Harrison, a distinguished man in his 70s with warm eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses, looked startled when his secretary announced me. "Margaret, I called your home, but Victoria claimed you were travelling," he said, his voice laced with concern. "Travelling?" My daughter's deception hit like a cold wind, her lie a calculated move to erase me from my own legacy. "Harrison, Victoria said she inherited everything." I pressed, my voice steady despite the shock. "What's in Robert's will?" His face clouded and he retrieved a thick file with a sense of urgency that matched my own. "There was a reading Victoria said you were too grief-stricken to attend," he explained, pulling out a document bearing Robert's meticulous signature. "She was to give you your copy. Your inheritance is clearly outlined." The revelation burned Victoria's. Ruse, claiming I was absent, was a deliberate theft of the life I'd built with Robert over 43 years. This office, with its oak desk and shelves of legal tomes, wasn't just a meeting place, it was my war room, where the truth of Robert's will became my reclaimed power against her greed. This wasn't just my fight, it's a universal stand for anyone whose trust is exploited by familial deceit in the shadow of grief. Like heirs uncovering forged wills to overturn schemes, my bus ride was a warrior's march. My doubt now a sharpened weapon against Victoria's lies, the sting of her betrayal, her chilling, "Find somewhere else to die, your useless didn't break me." It fueled my resolve to reclaim what was mine. This story, twisting with pain and defiance, is a call to those cast aside by greed. Share where you're reading from, and let's stand together in proving a pawn, armed with truth, can outmaneuver a false queen. In Harrison Fitzgerald's oak-lined office, he read Robert's will aloud, each word a revelation that shifted my world. To me, Margaret Ann Sullivan, went out Oakwood Drive. Home, its contents, and 70% of his $33 million estate, $23 million. My mind reeled at the figures, the security Robert had meticulously insured for me. To Victoria, he left $10 million in trust, payable only at 45, conditional on her respect for Mia clause that now stood as a testament to his foresight, anticipating her betrayal. Robert, ever precise, had woven a safeguard into his legacy, protecting me from the greed I hadn't seen coming. Victoria claimed I got nothing, I told Harrison, my voice low but steady. The sting of her words, "Find somewhere else to die. You're useless, still sharp." She took my house, gave me $200, and pointed me to a senior home. His face reddened with outrage, his voice firm. "That's elder abuse and fraud, likely forged papers or an outdated will." He leaned forward, explaining, "Robert revised this 6 months before his death, wary of Victoria's growing greed." The truth hit like a thunderbolt. My daughter's deception, her calculated eviction, was unraveling under the weight of Robert's love. This office wasn't just a meeting space. It was my war room, Robert's will my reclaimed castle, Harrison's anger a fierce ally in my fight. Victoria thought she could erase me, but the $23 million, the home and Robert's conditions were my checkmate, a pawn-turned queen's weapon against her betrayal. This isn't just my story, it's a universal stand for anyone whose trust is exploited by familial greed. Like heirs uncovering hidden clauses to thwart scheming kin, I held Robert's foresight as my shield. my resolve sharpened by his love. If this tale of betrayal and triumph grips you, share where you're reading from at your coffee shop, your quiet corner, and join my stand, proving that love's foresight can outplay even the deepest greed. My mind spun, replaying Victoria's dismissive sneers at family dinners, brushing off my words while boasting about Kevin's high-flying deals or their lavish trips. Robert had seen it all, his quiet wisdom weaving a will to shield me from her greed. In Harrison Fitzgerald's oak-lined office, he revealed the masterstroke. If Victoria disrespected me after Robert's death, her $10 million trust reverted to me. She's lost it all, Margaret. You inherit the full $33 million, the Oakwood Drive home, everything, Harrison said, his voice steady with conviction. Victoria's cruelty, her chilling, "Find somewhere else to die, you're useless," had triggered Robert's safeguard, stripping her inheritance bare. I whispered, "What now?" Harrison's warm smile, the first kindness since Robert's death 2 months ago, steadied my reeling heart. "We report her fraud to the police, then notify Victoria. Her world's collapsing," he said, his tone resolute. "Can she fight this?" I asked, my voice low but firm. "With what?" Harrison replied. "Every account she thought was hers is yours, frozen pending investigation." This wasn't just a legal victory. It was a queen's gambit, toppling Victoria's schemes with the foresight of Robert's love, crafted to protect me from the daughter who'd cast me out. Harrison's office, with its leather chairs and quiet authority, wasn't just a meeting space. It was my throne room, Robert's will, my scepter, wielding power Victoria never saw coming. This isn't just my triumph, yeah, it's a universal stand for anyone betrayed by familial greed, their loyalty exploited by those meant to cherish them. Like heirs undone by their own entitlement, Victoria's deception unraveled under the weight of Robert's hidden clauses. My resolve, sparked by her cruelty, burned brighter than the pain of her betrayal. If this story of rising above deceit grips you, share where you're reading from, your kitchen, your porch, and join my stand, proving that love's legacy, armed with truth, outmaneuvers even the deepest greed. Victoria and Kevin likely huddled in their stolen empire, plotting their wealth, blind to the storm brewing just hours away. In Harrison Fitzgerald's oak-lined office, transformed into a hub for what he called Operation Justice, he rallied police, banks, and a private investigator as I sat, grappling with the surreal scale of Victoria's audacious fraud. Stealing my Oakwood Drive home and $33 million, my rightful inheritance after 43 years of marriage, wasn't just betrayal. It was a calculated heist. Her chilling, "Find somewhere else to die, you're useless," a blade to my heart. Detective Rodriguez examined the forged will Victoria had wielded, her eyes sharp. "This is no amateur job. It's calculated, likely with help," she said. I asked, "Kevin?" She nodded. "Possibly forging legal documents needs expertise, maybe his financial contacts." The investigation zeroed in on their network, suspecting a web of collusion. Within hours, the counterstrike landed. All accounts tied to my inheritance froze, rendering Victoria's credit cards useless. Utilities in my house, now in her name, halted until ownership was verified. The empire she thought she'd claimed crumbled as banks locked down funds and investigators traced her fraud. Harrison's office wasn't just a meeting or space, it was my command post, where my silence, once a mark of grief, became a gathering force for justice. The frozen accounts were my first strike. Proof that Robert's foresight in securing 70% of his $33 million estate for me outmaneuvered their greed. This isn't just my fight, it's a universal stand for anyone whose trust is shattered by calculated betrayal. Like heirs caught in traps of their own making, Victoria and Kevin's schemes unraveled under the weight of legal safeguards Robert had woven. This story, sharp with deceit and defiance, is a testament to truth's swift blade cutting through lies. If it grips you, share where you're reading from your kitchen, your quiet corner, and join my stand, proving that a widow's resolve, armed with love's foresight, can topple even the most brazen deceit. At 3:47 p.m., Victoria's name flashed across my phone, her voice sharp with panic. "Mum, the bank accounts are frozen. What's happening?" I stood in Harrison Fitzgerald's oak-lined office, my resolve steady as I replied, "In with Harrison, your father's lawyer, who read the real will you hid from me." Her silence crackled through the line, a scramble of thoughts betrayed by her sudden stillness. "You lied, Victoria, forging documents to steal my home and $33 million, I said, my voice calm but cutting, slicing through her web of excuses. She stammered, "I was shielding you from financial stress. You don't understand investments." Her gall staggering, still spinning tales as her scheme unraveled under the weight of truth. "Your $10 million trust? It's mine now, per Robert's clause. About respecting me," I stated, each word a gavel falling. "Detective Rodriguez is here to discuss your fraud charges." Victoria's voice broke, pleading, "Can we meet to sort this out?" Her desperation palpable, but I held firm, her lies no match for the truth Robert's foresight had secured. This call wasn't just a confrontation, it was my courtroom, my words a verdict on her greed, condemning the daughter who cast me out with "find somewhere else to die, you're useless." This isn't just my fight, it's a universal stand for anyone whose trust is shattered by familial betrayal. Like betrayed heirs confronting schemers with undeniable proof, I wielded Robert's Wilmy $23 million inheritance, the Oakwood Drive home as a blade to topple Victoria's deceit. Her frantic plea, her forged documents, couldn't outmaneuver the safeguards Robert built for me. My resolve, forged in the pain of her betrayal, proved a pawn can claim the board. If this story of triumph over greed grips you, share where you're reading from your coffee shop, your quiet corner, and join my stand, proving that a mother's strength, armed with truth, can outshine even the deepest deceit. Victoria's taunt crackled through the phone, dripping with arrogance. "You wouldn't dare charge your daughter." A steely resolve hardened within me, forged from her betrayal. "Watch me," I snapped, ending the call as Harrison Fitzgerald, my lawyer, nodded approvingly in his oak-lined office. "Arrest warrants ready shall be picked up tonight," Detective Rodriguez confirmed, her voice steady. "Kevin's financial records are under subpoena. If he's complicit, he's facing charges too." Their empire of lies, built on stealing my $33 million inheritance and our Oakwood Drive home, was crumbling faster than Aid imagined. Victoria's text buzzed in, desperate and manipulative. "Think of the grandchildren." Rodriguez smirked, classic tactic, but I replied, unyielding, "They'll learn the cost of betraying family." Her audacity forging Robert's will, casting me out with "find somewhere else to die, you're useless," fueled a clarity sharper than grief. Kevin called next, his voice slick with false concern, urging a private resolution, claiming Victoria's poor choices stemmed from worry for my mental state. "Did you forge the will with her?" I pressed, cutting through his excuses. You'll both face fraud charges, and I'll be in my house. Watching, I declared, done with decades of compliance that had once defined me. This call wasn't just a confrontation, it was my courtroom, my words a verdict on their greed, dismantling the lies that sought to erase 43 years of my love and labor. This isn't just my fight, it's a universal stand for anyone whose trust is shattered by familial deceit. Like wronged heirs exposing schemes with unyielding truth, I wielded Robert's true will, securing my $23 million lightnings and Homer's a queen's gambit, toppling their fraud. Victoria and Kevin's desperation couldn't outmaneuver the safeguards Robert left me. If this story of defiance grips you, share where you're reading from, your kitchen, your porch, and join my stand, proving a widow's resolve, armed with truth, can seize the board and outshine betrayal. At 8:30 p.m., police stormed Leonard Restaurant, arresting Victoria mid-dinner, her celebratory toast over a stolen $33 million inheritance cut brutally short. Detective Rodriguez recounted her shouting about wrongful arrest, demanding a lawyer Kevin's inept golf buddy, laughably clueless in criminal law. The next day, Kevin was nabbed, linked to forged documents through his firm's shady printing company, his hidden history of financial crimes a shock, though Victoria likely knew. Their empire of deceit, built on evicting me from my Oakwood Drive home with a cruel "find somewhere else to die," collapsed under the weight of their own greed. I returned to my home, stepping into the master bedroom for the first time in weeks. The familiar creak of the floorboards, a quiet welcome. Victoria's designer clutter, her handbags. Her gaudy decor had invaded Robert's orderly space. I bagged it all, piling it on the porch, a symbolic purge to reclaim my domain. This house, once the heart of Robert's vision, now felt like mine to redefine, a canvas for my resilience. Harrison Fitzgerald called at noon. Victoria's bail is $50,000. Kevin's $200,000. Accounts frozen, they're stuck. Their condescension, treating me as financially naive, had blinded them to my resolve. "I'm renovating the house my way," I told Harrison, my voice steady, eager to imprinting my identity on the home they tried to steal. This wasn't just a homecoming, it was a triumphant reclamation. My bedroom a throne where I stood as queen, no longer the pawn Victoria cast out. Their betrayal forging Robert's will, dismissing 43 years of my love and labor, met its match in the safeguards had woven, securing my $23 million and this home. This isn't just my victory. It's a universal stand for anyone whose trust is shattered by familial greed. Like elders reclaiming estates from scheming heirs, I reshaped my space, my story, my legacy. If this tale of justice grips you, share where you're reading from, your kitchen, your porch, and join my stand, proving that a widow's truth can rewrite betrayal into triumph. Happiness, I discovered, bloomed in dismantling Victoria's vision for my inheritance. Her plans to gut the kitchen and turn Robert's study into a gaudy wine cellar. Instead, I envisioned an art studio with light-drenched windows and a cozy library lined with my favorite books, spaces that reflected my soul, not her ambition. My phone rang, pulling me from my plans. Janet Cooper from Channel 7 News, her voice earnest, asking to share my story of Victoria's elder fraud. "Your experience could warn other seniors," she urged, promising editorial control. I hesitated, weighing the weight of exposing my daughter's betrayal publicly. Knowing Victoria sat in jail, likely scheming to charm her way free. Sipping the Christmas wine Kevin had gifted, now reclaimed in my Oakwood Drive home, I savoured the irony, a toast to the power I'd wrested back. At 7 a.m., Victoria appeared on my porch, dishevelled, her bail somehow posted, her voice trembling with false sincerity. "Mom, we need to talk." Her composure was shattered, but I stood firm. The memory of her cruel, "Find somewhere else to die," your useless fueling my resolve. "You told me to die elsewhere. I chose to live here," I retorted, barring her entry. My home, now my fortress. Her excuse, "I was protecting you from financial mistakes," rang hollow against the forged will Shed used to steal my $33 million inheritance. Robert's true will, securing me $23 million and this house, had checkmated her greed. This porch wasn't just a doorstep, it was my stronghold. Janet's news offer my megaphone to warn others of familial deceit. This isn't just my story, it's a stand for anyone betrayed by manipulative heirs, their trust exploited in grief's shadow. Like survivors exposing family greed to reshape justice, my plans for a library and studio were a queen's moves, rewriting my legacy on my terms. Victoria's jail cell, her crumbling schemes, couldn't touch the strength Robert's foresight gifted me. If this tale of triumph grips you, share where you're reading from your kitchen, your porch, and join my stand, proving a widow's resolve can rule the board, turning betrayal into a legacy of unyielding truth. Victoria stood on my porch, her defiance crumbling, still deflecting her fraud as protection, her voice a desperate plea. "You misunderstood, Mum," she insisted, but I cut through her lies with a steady gaze. "Your father warned me 6 months before he died," I said, "fearing your greed, how you belittled others." Her face paled as I revealed Robert's video message, recorded to expose her if she mistreated me. He compared you to his selfish sister, Eleanor, and rewrote the will to protect me. Victoria's voice trembled, demanding, "Play it." I did, and Robert's voice filled the air, calm but piercing. "If you're hearing this, Victoria, you've proven my worst fears about your character." He detailed my sacrifices, part-time jobs to fund her college, dreams deferred for her future. While her betrayal, claiming my $33 million inheritance with a forged will, cost her the $10 million trust meant for her at 45. The recording shattered her facade, leaving only raw, broken sobs. "He didn't hate you," I said, my voice steady but heavy with truth. "He loved you enough to hope you'd change, but you proved him right with your cruelty. The porch wasn't just a doorstep, it was my courtroom. Robert's video my gavel, delivering a verdict on Victoria's deceit. Her chilling words, 'Find somewhere else to die. You're useless,' had sparked this reckoning, but Robert's foresight, securing my $23 million and our Oakwood Drive home, turned my grief into power. This isn't just my triumph. It's a universal stand for anyone betrayed by familial greed, their trust exploited in sorrow's shadow. Like elders unveiling hidden safeguards to topple scheming kin, I wielded Robert's video as a blade, cutting through her lies. If this story of truth's victory grips you, share your thoughts. Where are you reading from? Your kitchen, your porch? And join my stand, proving that love's foresight, wielded with resolve, outwits even the deepest betrayal. The air on my Oakwood Drive porch crackled with the promise of justice, fraud charges looming, an investigation tightening, and Channel 7 chasing my story of Victoria's elder abuse scheme. "Mum, please think of the grandkids. Kevin's career, our family's name, Victoria begged, her face folding like a fragile mask, her voice trembling with desperation. You ignored them when you forged my $33 million inheritance, I shot back, my words cutting sharp, exposing her felonies with a clarity that left no room for pretense. Her betrayal stood raw, a wound too deep for her crocodile tears to conceal. The sting of her "find somewhere else to die," you're useless still burning in my chest. She stood there, a ghost of her poised self, aged overnight by the weight of her own deceit. I didn't mean for it to go this far, she stammered, her voice raw, unpolished, finally carrying a shred of truth. I craved the money, the status, a worry-free life. Her confession hung heavy, but I met it with a steady blaze. Wanting doesn't justify destroying others, I said, torching her excuses with words honed by 43 years of sacrifice. How do I make this right? She sobbed, her voice cracking with desperation. Admit it was wrong, not a misstep, not protection, but unforgivably wrong, I demanded, unyielding. Then face the consequences with dignity, not your old manipulations. Her eyes met mine, wide with shock, seeing not the compliant mother she'd dismissed, but a woman who'd outmaneuvered her completely. I brought this on myself, didn't I? She whispered, crumbling under the ruin of her own making. Yes, Victoria, I said, steel in my tone, you absolutely did. This porch wasn't just a doorstep, it was my Colosseum, each sentence a thunderclap of justice, a verdict on her greed. This showdown, sparked by her betrayal, isn't just my story, it's a universal roar for anyone whose trust has been shattered by familial deceit. Like a pawn rising to claim the board, I proved integrity burns brighter than any scheme. If this tale of triumph grips you, share where you're reading from, your kitchen, your porch, and join my blazing victory, proving that a widow's resolve can outshine even the deepest betrayal. 3 days after Victoria's tearful confession, Eleanor Hayes, Kevin's mother, swept onto my Oakwood Drive porch, her jewelry gleaming with old money arrogance. Margaret, let's be rational about this mess, she purred, striding into my living room as if granting a royal audience. Prosecuting Kevin feels spiteful, don't you agree? I bit back a laugh, spiteful. When her son conspired to steal my $33 million inheritance and ousted me from my home with Victoria's cruel, "Find somewhere else to die, you're useless." Her audacity was a polished blade, cloaked in civility. Kevin just followed Victoria's lead, unaware of the full picture, Eleanor insisted, pinning the fraud on my daughter with breathtaking nerve, as if her son's hands were clean. He forged legal documents, I countered, my voice sharp, cutting through her deflection. That's not following, it's conspiracy to commit fraud. Her smile faltered, but she leaned in, deal-maker's charm intact. Our family offers $2 million to settle. You get your house, Victoria faces consequences, and Kevin avoids a public trial. $2 million to erase her son's theft of my entire estate. Mrs. Hayes, $2 million doesn't begin to cover what Kevin and Victoria took, I said, my tone ice cold. A widow's resolve forged in 43 years of sacrifice. This living room wasn't just a space. It was my fortress, my words a blade slicing through Eleanor's entitled offer, exposing the Hayes delusion that wealth could buy absolution. This showdown, sparked by their greed, isn't just my triumph, it's a universal stand for anyone whose trust is betrayed by those cloaked in privilege. Like a mother wronged but unbowed, I stood firm against their attempt to rewrite justice. Victoria and Kevin's scheme-forging Robert's will, evicting Mehmet its match in my resolve, and the true will securing my $23 million and home. If this tale of defiance grips you, share where you're reading from, your kitchen, your porch, and join my stand, proving that truth and resilience can outshine even the most brazen greed. Eleanor Hayes' polished mask slipped, her gilded armor cracking as she pleaded. Kevin's career, his kids, his name prison serves no one. My voice lashed back, sharp as a whip. It serves justice. Her elitist sneer. Justice? You're torching families over money you'd fumble anyway, echoed Victoria's venom, branding me as mere help who dared rise above my place. For 43 years, it'd been the backbone of our family, yet to them I was disposable, my $33 million inheritance theirs to steal. We're done, Mrs. Hayes, I declared, standing tall in my Oakwood Drive living room, my resolve ironclad, unbowed by her wealth. She pressed, her voice dripping with desperation. Reconsider $5 million to let Kevin walk. The offer glittered, but it was hollow, a bribe to erase his fraud. No, I shot back. The word a fortress, unshaken by her millions. Eleanor rose, her composure snapping back like a taut string, but her threat loomed like a dark cloud. Fine, but Kevin's lawyers dug up dirt on Robert's business. It'd be a shame if that spills at trial. My curiosity flared, fearless, sensing the thin edge of her bluff. What dirt? I demanded, my voice steady, ready to unravel her tactic. She swept out, leaving silence in her wake, but I dialed Harrison Fitzgerald, urgency crackling through the line. Their claims don't erase Victoria and Kevin's fraud, he assured, but cautioned, smearing Robert could sway a jury. Uncover every deal, every shadow in Robert's business, I insisted, determined to face any buried truths before the Hayes family could twist them. This living room wasn't just a space, it was my battleground. Each word a blazing torch against Eleanor's arrogance, carving my victory over their entitlement. This isn't just my fight, it's a universal stand for anyone whose trust is shattered by greed cloaked in threats. Like a pawn turned queen outwitting scheming kin, my defiance, fueled by Victoria's betrayal and Robert's foresight, burned brighter than their schemes. If this tale of fiery triumph grips you, share where you're reading from, your kitchen, your porch, and join my stand, proving that a widow's resolve, armed with truth, can outshine even the darkest deceit. That night, I claimed Robert's study me study, now in our Oakwood Drive home, plunging into his meticulously ordered files, each folder a testament to the precision I'd loved for 43 years. But as I sifted through, cracks appeared. Payments to phantom companies, bloated consulting fees, partnerships with firms as real as ghosts. By midnight, a chilling truth unraveled, shattering everything I believed about my husband. The man it cherished, who mourned my mother beside me and gifted flowers annually, had hidden a dark empire beneath his honest facade. Enter Carol Chen, Harrison Fitzgerald's sharp-eyed private investigator, a bloodhound for financial crimes. For 6 hours, she dissected Robert's records, snapping photos and piecing together a sinister mosaic across the study's oak desk. Mrs. Sullivan, Robert ran a sleek money laundering operation through his firm. She revealed, her voice steady but grim. Millions flowed through for organized crime, masked by his legitimate business. The words struck like a thunderbolt. Impossible! Robert was integrity itself, I protested, my voice trembling, but the documents sprawled before me told a brutal story. fake invoices, sham contracts, payments tied to criminal underworlds. At least 12 years, Carol confirmed, maybe more, while Id hosted galas and raised Victoria, oblivious to the shadow empire funding our life. This study wasn't just a room, it was my war room. Each file a betrayal, peeling back Robert's mask, exposing a truth I'd never suspected. The desk, once his throne, now held my fight for clarity, my heart reeling as I confronted the man I thought I knew. This isn't just my reckoning, it's a universal stand for anyone blindsided by hidden truths, their trust shattered by those closest to them. Like a widow uncovering a life built on lies, I faced a painful unraveling, but my resolve grew sharper with each document. If this tale of discovery grips you, share where you're reading from, your kitchen, your porch, and join my stand, proving that even the deepest secrets can't bury a woman's strength when she seeks the truth. Carol Chen's voice dropped, heavy with a revelation that shook the air in Robert's study. The $10 million earmarked for Victoria. Straight from laundered car chef, the FBI sniffs this out. They'll seize everything as criminal proceeds. My world tilted, the room blurring as the truth crashed in. My home, investments, the entire $33 million inheritance gone. Unless what? I demanded, heart pounding, my voice steady despite the dread coiling tight. Carol shifted uneasy. Unless Victoria and Kevin's lawyers already know and plan to dangle it as bait tip the FBI on Robert's crimes for immunity. My daughter and son-in-law weren't just thieves. They wielded a doomsday weapon, ready to blow up my life to escape their own fraud charges. What options do I have? I whispered, the weight of betrayal first Victoria's, now Robert's crushing. Go to the FBI first, come clean. Hope for mercy, you'd lose most funds but keep the house, Carol said, or stay silent and they leak it anyway, dragging you into charges for benefiting from crimes you didn't know about. Eleanor Hayes' smug grin flashed in my mind. She'd known about Robert's dark secrets, likely tipped off Victoria and Kevin. How did they uncover this? I pressed. Kevin's an investment banker. He spotted red flags in Robert's records, Carol replied. The real question, how will they deploy this bomb? This study, once Robert's sanctuary, was now my storm center. Carol's revelation a thunderclap, turning me from victim to strategist. This wasn't just my fight, it's a universal battle for anyone blindsided by buried sins. Their trust shattered by those closest. Like whistleblowers facing counter-threats with weaponized truths, I stood on a razor's edge. My options, mercy or ruin, a spark for defiance. Victoria's greed, her find somewhere else to die, and now Robert's hidden crimes couldn't break me. My question to Carol wasn't surrender, it was resolve. A widow cornered but unbreakable, ready to wield knowledge as power. If this tale of fiery defiance grips you, share where you're reading from, your kitchen, your porch, and join my stand, proving that truth can outshine even the deepest betrayal. Victoria's call shattered the evening's quiet in my Oakwood Drive home, her voice tight with urgency. Mom, meet me tonight. Things about Daddy change everything. I cut through her ploy, my tone ice cold. I know about his money laundering, the criminal ties, the tainted $33 million. Her silence screamed panic, her leverage crumbling as she realized I held the truth. Kevin's lawyers are talking to the FBI, she pressed, desperation creeping in. They'll give him immunity for exposing Daddy's network. You keep $5 million, and the house fraud charges vanish. It was a devil's bargain. Her crimes swapped for Robert's sins. a sociopathic masterstroke to dodge accountability. You want me to profit from your fraud by exploiting his, I said, my voice sharp as a blade, slicing through her scheme. In Robert's study, surrounded by opulent Lisrare books, fine art, all bought with blood money, I face the stark reality of my 43-year marriage to a stranger. Victoria, inheriting his deceit, had miscalculated one thing. My resolve when cornered. I need time, I told her, stalling as she warned. The FBI meeting's tomorrow. Kevin's lawyer needs your answer tonight. Alone in the dark, I dialed Carol Chen, my voice steady with purpose. How fast can you get me to the FBI? I've got a story they'll want to hear. Robert's study wasn't just a room, it was my war room. My call to Carol a battle cry against a legacy of lies. This wasn't just my fight. It's a universal stand for anyone cornered by layered deceit, their trust shattered by those closest. Like whistleblowers outmaneuvering corporate cover-ups, I wielded my knowledge as a weapon, ready to flip Victoria and Kevin's scheme into a checkmate. Their betrayal, her find somewhere else to die, his forged documents, met my defiance fueled by the truth of Robert's crimes and my own resilience. If this tale of daring resolve grips you, share where you're reading from, your kitchen, your porch, and join my fight, proving that a widow's strength, armed with truth, can outplay even the deepest greed. FBI agent Sarah Martinez faced me in Harrison Fitzgerald's sleek conference room, her sharp edges and unyielding focus matched by the cold scratch of her pen. Mrs. Sullivan, coming clean means admitting you benefited from criminal proceeds, serious stuff, she warned, her steel grey eyes locked on mine. I'd rather spill the truth than let Victoria and Kevin twist it for their escape. I fired back, laying bare Robert's hidden money laundering empire, Victoria's fraud, Kevin's forged documents, and their sly extortion disguised as a settlement. Martinez's lips twitched, a rare crack in her armor. Are you scared, Margaret? Scared? I scoffed, my voice blazing. 2 weeks ago, I was a grieving widow in a $49 motel. Now I'm here, exposing my husband's crimes to you. Fear's been burned away by pure, white-hot anger at being played for a fool. Her smile widened, a glint of respect flashing. Will you wear a wire? 3 hours later, a recording device hugged my chest as I sat in my Oakwood Drive living room, heart pounding, waiting for Victoria and Kevin's surrender meeting. They knocked at 8:01 p.m. Sharp, dressed like corporate deal makers, Kevin clutching a briefcase stuffed with their so-called immunity papers. Mum, you look radiant, Victoria cooed, planting a kiss as if she hadn't spat. Find somewhere else to die. Clarity does wonders. I shot back, my voice a velvet blade. Kevin snapped open his briefcase, all business. Margaret, our lawyers, crafted a sweet deal. You keep the house, $5 million in clean assets and immunity from Robert's mess. Victoria chimed in, the past stays buried, we all walk free. Clean assets, I mused, catching her flinch. What about my $33 million inheritance? That's tainted, Mum, Victoria urged, her voice slick with false concern. $5 million's the best you'll get. Kevin leaned in, smug. We put this misunderstanding behind us. Victoria's charges vanish. Their gall ignited my fury, but the wire hummed, capturing every word of their unraveling scheme. This living room wasn't just a space, it was my trap. My calm, a coiled spring ready to snap, each word from Victoria and Kevin tightening the FBI's net. This isn't just my fight, it's a universal stand against deceit's polished lies. Like a widow turning betrayal into justice, I wielded truth as my weapon, their smug deal a confession on tape. If this electrifying sting grips you, share where you're watching from your kitchen, your porch, and join my stand, proving that a mother's resolve can outshine even the slickest schemes. Kevin's smug grin faltered as he called his felony fraud a misunderstanding, insisting it would save his reputation and our family. Kevin, when did you uncover Robert's money laundering? I pressed, my voice a razor's edge. Before marrying Victoria or while plotting to steal my $33 million? Their shared glance betrayed guilt, a crack splintering their polished facade. That's irrelevant, Margaret, Kevin deflected, but I leaned in, relentless. If you knew of Robert's crimes and stayed silent, you're an accessory. If you found out while forging my inheritance, you're just cursed with bad luck. Victoria's poise crumbled. Mom, what's your point? She snapped, her voice trembling with panic. My point? This wasn't a whim, you two schemed for months, maybe years, with forged wills and Kevin's shady forger contacts. I said, my eyes locked on theirs, unyielding. Agent Martinez finds it very plausible. Their faces drained of color at the mention of Martinez's name, FBI, closing in on their elder abuse, fraud, and extortion plot. Kevin lurched for his briefcase, stammering, "This conversation's over." "No, Kevin, it's just begun," I shot back as Agent Sarah Martinez and two feds stormed my Oakwood Drive living room. They snatched his briefcase and their phones, cuffing them as Martinez declared, "Victoria and Kevin Hayes, you're under arrest for conspiracy, wire fraud, elder abuse, and attempted extortion." Victoria's eyes, wide with betrayal, bored into me. "Mum, how could you betray family?" she hissed. "Like you forged my inheritance and threw me out and my ways." "Legal," I retorted, unflinching, the wire on my chest humming with their recorded confession. Kevin, desperate, blurted, "Margaret, you've poked a hornet's nest. Robert's criminal ties won't like this." Martinez paused mid-Miranda, her voice sharp. "Threatening a witness, Mr. Hayes? That's another charge. This living room wasn't just my home, it was my coliseum. The wire my blade, capturing their downfall in a pawn-turned-queen's checkmate. This isn't just my victory, it's a universal stand against greed's polished lies, a cry for anyone whose trust is shattered by deceit. Victoria and Kevin's scheme forging Robert's will, evicting me would find somewhere else to deem its match in my resolve and the truth of his $33 million legacy. If this tale of triumph grips you, share where you're reading from, your kitchen, your porch, and join my stand, proving a widow's strength, wired for justice, can outshine even the slickest betrayal. As Victoria and Kevin were hauled away in cuffs, their schemes unraveling, Agent Sarah Martinez settled back across from me in my Oakwood Drive living room, her face grave. "Mrs. Sullivan, Kevin's warning about dangerous connections, wasn't it hollow? Robert was tied to the Torino crime family, a linchpin in their decades-long money laundering schemes," she said, her steely gaze piercing. My stomach churned. The name Torino meant nothing, but the weight of her words screamed peril. "Am I in physical danger?" I asked, my voice steady despite the dread clawing within. "Potentially," Martinez admitted, then slid a hefty file across the table, dropping a bombshell. "Your husband wasn't just a criminal. He was an FBI informant for 12 years, feeding us intel on the Torino family while posing as their loyal money launderer." My world spun. Robert, my straight-laced husband of 43 years, a deep cover operative in a clandestine sting. The operation was so covert, even local FBI officers were in the dark, Martinez added, her voice steady but heavy. The money, $33 million, was real, but earned through his cooperation. The FBI let him keep a cut to maintain his cover, making your inheritance legitimate. I stared, grappling with the image of Robert as both criminal and hero, his double life rewriting our decades together, every dinner, every laugh, every quiet moment now layered with secrets I'd never suspected. This living room, moments ago the stage for a sting that trapped Victoria and Kevin's fraud, became my crucible, each revelation a seismic shift in my reality. The man I'd loved, who mourned my mother beside me and gifted flowers annually, had carried a hidden war, shielding me even as he risked everything. This isn't just my story, it's a universal clash of truth and deception, a testament to resilience against unimaginable betrayal. Victoria's greed, her find somewhere else to die, and now Robert's covert life couldn't break me. They forged a strength I'm only beginning to understand. If this tale of staggering revelation grips you, share where you're reading from, your kitchen, your porch, and join my stand, proving that a widow's heart, battered by secrets, can rise to reclaim her truth. Agent Sarah Martinez's voice rang, steady as steel, in my Oakwood Drive living room. The $33 million is yours, clean and legal. She revealed Robert's secret. His 12-year FBI sting fueled 47 arrests and seized $200 million in Torino, crime family assets, but his death left the case open, and we couldn't risk tipping you off. My jaw tightened. Victoria and Kevin's fraud, built on half-truths to blackmail me, had unwittingly cleared me, their scheme unraveling to free Robert's name. The irony stung, sharp and poetic. My daughter tried to rob me twice, first with a forged will, then with threats of Robert's crimes, only to dismantle her own empire of lies. Why keep me in the dark? I pressed, my voice low but burning with the weight of 43 years. We weren't sure if you knew about Robert's double life, Martinez admitted. Your daughter's scam confirmed you were a victim, not a player. Their ignorance of Robert's FBI role turned their weapon into my shield, a twist that fortified my resolve. What now? I asked, the weight of betrayal lifting like fog. You reclaim your fortune. Victoria and Kevin face federal charges, and the Torino family's buried in raids across 3 states tomorrow, too crippled to chase you, she said. My living room, once a stage for their deceit, now glowed as my battleground of triumph. Agent Martinez, am I wrong to feel satisfied watching Victoria fall? I ventured, testing the edges of my heart. Her smile sparked validation. Mrs. Sullivan, you're not wrong. You're a woman who turned betrayal into strength, and that's damn inspiring. This living room wasn't just a space, it was my phoenix nest, where I rose from the ashes of fraud and secrets. My $33 million, not just money, but proof of my reclaimed power. This isn't just my victory, it's a universal anthem for anyone defying manipulation with unyielding truth. Victoria's. Find somewhere else to die, and Kevin's schemes couldn't break me. They forged my resilience. If this blazing comeback grips you, share where you're reading from, your kitchen, your porch, and join my stand, proving a widow's truth can outshine even the darkest greed. 6 months later, I stood in my revamped Oakwood Drive kitchen, brewing coffee as sunlight streamed through newly fixed windows, dancing across countertops. I'd chosen with my own heart for the first time in 43 years. Dr. Sarah Chen, my sharp new financial advisor and Carol's sister, breezed in with a hefty folder of investment reports, her smile as bright as the room. "Morning. Margaret ready for our quarterly review?" she asked, settling at my sleek new breakfast table. The past half year had been a whirlwind of courtrooms, media spotlights, and a personal rebirth that felt like shedding a chrysalis. Leaving behind the widow Victoria had tried to erase with her "find somewhere else to die." "Your portfolio's thriving," Sarah announced, her voice steady with pride. "The Margaret Sullivan Foundation for Elder Protection is up and running, funding legal aid and pushing for tougher elder abuse laws with $15 million of your $33 million inheritance." Victoria and Kevin, now serving 18-month federal sentences for fraud and elder abuse, had faded into the background, their schemes exposed as my story fueled a Netflix deal for The Mother's Revenge, a series channeling profits to senior advocacy. This kitchen, once Robert's domain, was now my command center, a testament to a life reclaimed from their deceit and his hidden money laundering past. "Victoria wrote again," Sarah said cautiously, begging for forgiveness through her lawyer. 17 letters had piled up from her prison cell, each a tangle of excuses and pleas I'd stopped reading after the third. "Has my stance softened?" I asked, knowing the answer. "Not based on our talk," Sarah replied, "but people can change, even after grave mistakes." I reflected on the woman I'd been grieving, compliant, ready to accept crumbs of respect. That Margaret might be crumbled under guilt, but she was gone, forged anew in the fire of betrayal. "Set a meeting with Victoria's lawyer," I told Sarah, my voice steady, not to mend fences, but to draw a line in stone. This kitchen wasn't just a room, it was me fortress. Its new windows a symbol of clarity, won through betrayal's crucible. The Margaret Sullivan Foundation is just charity. It's a beacon for seniors fighting familial greed, a testament to resilience reshaping legacies. The Netflix deal amplifies my voice, a roar against the deceit that tried to bury me. If this tale of triumph grips you, share where you're reading from, your kitchen, your porch end, join my stand, proving that a widow's resolve, forged in truth, can outshine greed and build a legacy that endures. In my revamped Oakwood Drive kitchen, I face Sarah Chen, my financial advisor, with a fire in my voice. I want Victoria to feel the weight of her betrayal. "Beyond prison bars," I declared, sharp with intent. "She shattered our bond forever, and her kids will know why their mother fell. Her letters don't erase that." Sarah raised an eyebrow. "Harsh." "Good," I snapped. "She chose to wound those she should have loved. No sob story undoes that." Sarah jotted notes in her sleek portfolio, her pen steady. "And the grandchildren? Victoria wants supervised visits. Their relationship with me hinges on their choices as adults, not her redemption act," I said, unyielding, my resolve forged in the crucible of Victoria's. "Find somewhere else to die." The doorbell chimed a delivery truck with my new art studio furniture waited outside. "The studio's my sanctuary," I told Sarah, picturing Robert's old den, now a vibrant haven where I'd rekindled my long-lost passion for painting, buried under decades of being the dutiful wife. "Sarah, do you ever regret how this unfolded? The sentences, the media storm, the family rift?" she asked as I signed for the delivery. 6 months ago, I was a grieving widow, homeless in a $49 motel, invisible to the daughter who forged my $33 million inheritance. Now, I'm a philanthropist with a $15 million foundation for elder protection, a Netflix deal for The Mother's Revenge, and a voice shaking up senior advocacy. Victoria and Kevin tried to strip me bare, forging documents, blackmailing me when they thought I was weak, I said, my voice steady as steel. They're not family, they're DNA. Family lifts you up, not preys on your pain. Sarah snapped her portfolio shut, a nod of respect in her eyes. Look at who I became when I stopped letting them cage my worth, I added, a spark of triumph flaring. This kitchen, this home, was my stronghold, each brushstroke in my studio a defiance of betrayal. This isn't just my story, it's a universal stand for anyone whose trust is shattered by greed. Like a phoenix rising from ashes, I turned Victoria's deceit into a blazing rebirth. If this tale of triumph grips you, share where you're reading from, your kitchen, your porch, and join my stand, proving that a widow's resolve, forged in fire, can redefine a legacy brighter than any betrayal. After Sarah Chen's departure, I wandered through my Oakwood Drive home, now a canvas of my own desires, every frame, every hue chosen by me, free from Robert's shadow or Victoria's greed. In my art studio, once his den, I unveiled my latest work, a self-portrait of a woman bathed in fierce sunlight, eyes blazing toward tomorrow. Gone was the grieving widow who'd crammed 43 years of love and labor into 2 suitcases, cast out by Victoria's cruel find somewhere else to die. This woman radiated power unshackled, fearless, proof that true revenge isn't settling scores, but rising into everything your betrayers swore you'd never become. Outside, the sunset gilded the trees it planted in Pennsylvania. Soil it fought for, land earned through grit and cunning, not merely inherited. Tomorrow it'd keep forging a life sculpted by my will, not the plans of a daughter who forged my $33 million inheritance, or a husband whose secret FBI sting hid a money laundering empire. If Victoria dreamed of mending ties from her prison cell, her 18-month sentence a consequence of her fraud, she'd need more than tear-stained letters. She'd need a rebirth as seismic as mine, a transformation I no longer believed she could muster. This house, this studio, is my fortress, each brushstroke a defiant anthem of triumph over betrayal. This isn't just my story, it's a universal roar for anyone who's reclaimed their power from the ashes of deceit. The canvas of my life, vibrant with my own choices, proves resilience outshines greed. If this tale of rising above betrayal grips you, share your story in the comments. Where are you reading from? Your kitchen, your porch, and let your voice join my blazing legacy, proving that a widow's strength, forged in fire, can paint a future brighter than any scheme.